Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another one of Mikey's vlogs. And enjoy these while you guys can, because coming up in the very near future, Mike is going to be moving. There's going to be some changes in his setup due to a pretty massive career change and a lot more money. But it might come to a point for a little while for him to where filming is going to be difficult to get this level of stuff up and everything else. So these vlogs might be coming to an end shortly. So enjoy them while you can. We've got quite a few of them. So we started off with axle bar against light bands, and he ended up getting like 300 pounds. It might have been 300 or 310. I think it was 300. But again, for an axle bar, pretty good against bands. Very good against bands. Now, as you guys can see, as we got into his accessories, we're doing weighted dips. And I haven't fully seen all of this footage yet as I'm putting it up here. I didn't watch all of his accessories yet. I always watch his maxes. Again, look at the size of his triceps. This is why he's a good bencher, right? The triceps. That's why he's even a strong close grip bencher. There's only about 10 pounds difference when he goes down to a close grip. But Mike's got arms. You know, he's got arms, and we continue to train them even though they're a strong point because we don't want them getting weaker. But dips are one of the things that we use early on to build his chest. When we started, Mike did not have a big chest. So I've had multiple people chime in and say, well, all this benching and stuff, it just builds a big chest. Actually, we didn't use the bench to build his chest. He didn't have a chest, and he had like a 295 bench. Okay, we used a lot of floor press and a lot of weighted dips. So because I feel like he needs more delt, I'm seeing some delt weakness on some of his benching. We're going to do more incline work, and then instead of doing all this pause benching to change things up, we're going to go back to dips to put some more meat on him there. This combination, again, will help with his front delts. And again, front delts do get trained a lot on those snatch grip high pulls. So between that and the inclines, we've got a lot there. And if we really need to delt specialize, I'll take him over to all mostly incline and overhead pressing if I have to, other than his speed benching. But, you know, we'll watch how it goes and watch for more of that, any shoulder weakness coming out. So it's dips, incline bench, and then his reverse band JM presses. And again, JM presses are a mainstay for him because he seems to be able to handle them year round. He's got the technique down enough to where he doesn't get shoulder issues, and we can do reverse bands to prevent that. I'm sorry, elbow issues. He doesn't get any real inflammation there. So, but arms have always been a strong point for him. He really built up his tendons doing tons and tons of press downs and other stuff for many, many years. So, you know, we're in a situation to where his tendons can handle all this. So we capitalize on it, right? We capitalize on it. And then we did, you know, pull-ups as normal, although he is reporting some bicep fatigue, so we're going to have to adjust some things. He's starting to feel a little bit of strain like in his bicep. But, so again, we do weighted pull-ups, we do pin lay rows, and then we do snatch grip high pulls. Now, he had strained a trap a little bit last week on his snatch grip high pulls, and a lot of it's overuse. He gets so much trap work in because I've increased his speed pulls against bands, right? We've increased that volume, and he's progressed really crazily well on the snatch grip high pulls. And so I dropped him down to 6s, and I'm like, look, I want you to leave a rep in the tank no matter what, nothing to failure with it. And we can just work with 6s so that we're doing less total volume for the traps. And so people say, yeah, but it's heavier. Yeah, but it's workload. It's the fact that we're doing so much total volume for traps with the changes that it's becoming too much. And so even the higher rep work kind of needs to come out for him. So we'll just focus on getting as much strength as we can with as fewer reps as possible to get hypertrophy on the snatch grip high pulls. And I mean, he's lifting a pretty crazy weight. I think this is something like 335 is what he's doing for 6s on these. I've had a lot of people ask on the rows, is that 300? No, it's less than 300 on the rows. So no, it's less than 300. It's down in the 200s, but it's still pretty good. And we've made a lot of progress there in thickening him up. You know, we've made a lot of progress there. So then we get over the deadlift. I wasn't fully happy with these deadlifts today. Okay, he went for 455. And again, he's strong on everything but deadlifts. His weak link, all his supplemental lifts says he has the muscle to pull 500 plus, but he can't do it. All right, he struggled off the floor, stopped for a second, and regripped it and came back and pulled 455. Okay, he needed a second to collect himself. But notice he's weak off the floor, even with a deadlift bar. Okay, we're going to have to fix this. This is a technical issue and a joint specificity issue for him because he's strong enough to deadlift 500 pounds. Like, he has the muscle mass to do so. Okay, then he pulls it easily. He went up to 475 and tried it, and again, stuck right there at the floor. So what I'm going to need to do for him is a little bit of true heavy pulling. So what I'm going to end up probably doing next block, I'm going to program for him, let him recover from this with this block. So we're not going to add it in this coming week because he's already got the programming. We're going to start doing low block pulls with heavy weight on his max effort days as a supplemental lift. And we can cut some of this other stuff out. We can cut other stuff out that he doesn't need in there. But the extra quad work we're throwing in will possibly help with him off the floor, because quads can impact you off the floor. Their hamstrings can impact you. So then we're doing his safety bar good mornings, and we're at a point with these where I don't know that these are limiting his deadlift anymore. So I may rotate him back to his cambered bar for a while. You know, we may go back fully to the cambered bar because I feel like we've outlived our usefulness here. We're still not seeing the power off the floor on the deadlift, so his upper back is not limiting anything, right? You guys notice once he got up there, he just locked it quick. We don't have an upper back weakness at all. This is entirely set up lower body and just neuromuscular efficiency through those joint angles, which is fixable. But it means I need to really focus more on hitting the lower body, the glutes and everything harder, right? We need to work more lower body. His upper body is not limiting his deadlifts at all. I mean, my God, the guy's doing like 335 for sixes on snatch grip high pulls. So we need to focus just on the lower body. And we're going to focus on block pulls. And I had him rotate out because of the setup issues. I had him go over to some Romanian deadlifts with the safety bar. Yes, I know I do these too. And people would be like, do all your clients do these? No, I rotate things. A lot of my clients do step-ups. None of them do lunges because no one's told me, hey, coach, I really love lunges. If I get a lifter who tells me they love lunges, we can replace them. They're all isolateral leg work. They're relatively interchangeable with minor differences in which muscles they work harder. Okay, there's some minor differences. Right? Step-ups can work your adductors a little more when they're really high. These they actually hit the rectus femoris a little harder and the quad than some of the others. But this is what we need. Think about what we're using out of the bottom of a deadlift. The rectus femoris matters. Okay, the rectus femoris matters. If someone's weak off the floor on the deadlift, we might need to bring that up. So, again, changing things appropriately. And then he finishes off with reverse hypers. But the thing that we ran into, we ran into the same problem for him on the step-ups that I ran into when you get strong up, on the belt squats. It's really problematic to load a lot of weight on. There's a point where when you start getting to that 300 plus pound mark where it feels like an injury risk climbing up and down. Right? If anything goes wrong, you're going to break a foot, break an ankle. There comes a point where when it's heavy weight, it just doesn't seem worth it anymore unless you have a proper belt squat machine. And the only one I like is the ones they have like at Westside. I think those are way better than like the Pit Sharks and stuff. Those are the ones that you want. That cable loaded where you're standing on a deck with just a cable in the middle. That's ideal. He doesn't have one. I don't have one. So at this point, single leg exercises are the better choice. They're the better choice. Then we get over to speed benching, and his speed bench is constant. We don't ever change it because we've never needed to. He does really well year-round running identical speed bench. We just rotate the grip. So we do 3 sets wide, 3 sets medium, 3 sets close. And whatever his bench max is, that's what we work with. And look how fast these were today. For him, I like 50% bar weight, 30% bands. So what does that mean? People are like, I don't understand. So if your bench is 300 pounds, that means 150 pounds on the bar. And it means 90 pounds of band tension. Right? 50% and 30%. They're all based on your maxes. Everything is based on your maxes. That's one of the things I love about the conjugate system, and we will use some reps in reserve as necessary because we don't have calculations for some lifts or proxies to work off of. But as Louis Simmons says, intensity is a mathematical equation, not a feeling. And I love that because we need to be able to quantify these things. I am not one of those. I don't care how you feel. How you feel is a lie. Numbers, mechanical tension, distance moved, right? This is physics. And physics and your body do not care how you feel about it. Again, my philosophy. This is numbers. It is a numbers game. And we can calculate everything. We can calculate what your workloads need to be. We can calculate your total effective reps based off of your percentages. And I coach that way. And I know a lot of people disagree with it. There's a lot of trends the other direction. It's not how I prefer to do things. I find a lot of problems with it. I find that RPE and reps in reserve lets your lifters be lazy. And I found that most lifters will be lazy with it, including ones who seem otherwise driven, really hard training people. I mean, perfect example. Big J, the guy who did that crazy Zercher from the floor. Now that guy doesn't pussy around. Yet when I used to give him RPE on certain lifts, he would sandbag like crazy. Right? And you wouldn't think that. You watch that guy do that crazy Zercher lift you get, that's a guy with balls. Right? That's a guy with balls. He's not scared. In fact, he just hit a 475 squat the other day. I think he's going to hit a 500 this year. He's 185 pounds, by the way. But yeah, that guy's shredded. That guy's shredded. But, you know, he would do that. I don't like it. We have to do it on certain lifts. You know, we don't have a choice. But they're lifts that people don't seem to be afraid of. People don't seem to be afraid of pushing up a pull-up or a chin-up. Right? They don't seem to be afraid of that. They know when they've reached failure. They know when it's grinding. It's things like good mornings, glute bridges, stuff like that. People get afraid. They get afraid of big numbers. And they'll half-ass it if you let them do that. So I like to work it off these percentages. Then we have the snatch grip high pulls up here again. Again, he's gotten phenomenally strong on these. And again, we've built a shoulder girdle for him. You know, again, always point that out. And Christian Thibodeau quoted me on that the other day from some conversations we had in an article. Snatch grip high pulls are one of the only ways to really get a drug-free lifter yoked. If you don't see a drug-free lifter doing stuff like this, and he's got a stacked shoulder girdle, and he's not doing lifts like that, I'm telling you right now, he's not as drug-free as he claims to be. Okay? Those are facts. But lifts like that, snatch grip high pull, it will get you yoked. It'll get you yoked. And we've added a lot of shoulder size to him. And we still have room to grow there. You know, I don't think he's at his limit there. We still have room to grow. Now, some people say, well, I don't see big cap delts. Well, number one, he's clean. Number two, he's not lean. If he dieted down, I think it would be shockingly different. I think it would look totally different. And he might diet down later. We've talked about that. If he wants to drop 10 pounds, 15 pounds of fat, we might diet him down. Right now, he's not concerned about it. Doesn't need to be. But then his speed lower stuff went pretty good. No issues there. It's pretty straightforward. We've worked quite a bit on the form on that, because I used to give him a hard time about the box squat, so he's improved on those. They're not always perfect. But again, we're seeing him just straining and working so hard on these safety bar good mornings, and now I'm not seeing the carryover. And people would say, why? Because his upper back is stronger than it needs to be for what we're lifting on the deadlift. So I need to take him over to the other bar. All right, we need to take him over to the other bar. Need to load more posterior chain and not worry so much about the upper back. His upper back is good. Based on these, based upon all the pulling work, this is not a weak link for him by a long shot. He's probably got the upper back to pull 550. So we know where we need to put our priorities. And then again, as usual, he finishes off with the reverse hyper, and you guys know how I feel about the reverse hyper. I wish every one of my clients had one of these. It would make me happy. At present, I have 8 clients out of 25 who have a reverse hyper. I wish it was 25 out of 25. Actually, I wish it was 30 out of 30. How's that? 30 clients for the reverse hypers. That would be a coach's dream come true right there. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.